Hello, my dear learners. Welcome to a new session here at Skillfident with your mentor Namita. Now, in today's class, I am going to erase the most difficult part of learning to speak in English fluently for all of you learners out there. Undoubtedly, the most challenging part of English has always been grammar for you. It was like this during your school days also. During exams, you would easily cram the literature, you could easily attempt the comprehension, reading passages, you would even manage with the writing section. But grammar gave you goosebumps. The tenses, its rules, three form of verbs, prepositions, conjunctions, even nouns, pronouns, adverbs, verbs in details were a real challenge. Active and passive voice, how to form a sentence, subject, predicate, which verb to use with which tense, and all of that was so confusing. And still, when you try to dive deep into learning grammar rules, you still feel so confused. So, whether to learn English in order to speak fluently or not is quite debatable. People have their different point of views. Some believe that it's very important to pay attention to grammar while learning English, and some believe that you don't really need to get into too much of grammar if your aim is just to improve your speaking skills in English. Well, let's have a look at a different perspective. You must have noticed toddlers these days speaking in English, or if you look at these boys and girls who are standing at the MACD counters, or the children who start their jobs with call centers, they've just passed their class 10 or 12, or the people who move abroad. They are not very educated, but they all learn to speak in English without paying attention to grammar. It's the same way as you picked up your first language. If your first language is Hindi, or it's Tamil, or it's Gujarati, Malayalam, Punjabi, Haryanvi, Bhojpuri, whichever your language is, you didn't pick it up by learning a lot of grammar rules. When you were 2 or 3 years old, you started to speak sentences on your own simply by listening to your parents, your sibling, relatives, friends, family, neighbors, everybody. In the same way, why can't we learn English? Of course, we can do that. So let's try to look at this approach where we don't pay a lot of attention to grammar, but we still become fluent in English by using self-learning techniques. And this is what I do here on this channel. I don't do any sponsored content. I don't make you pay for courses, or I don't make you pay for joining these taking talk time of these big applications, and nothing. We are only focusing on self-learning where we can become fluent in English on our own. I know you still have a question mark in your head. Ma'am, you are saying learn English without grammar, but how? Why shall we not learn grammar? Well, let me give you some genuine reasons why you should not dive deep into grammar rules. The first reason is because you are not going to become an English professor. Are you planning to pursue a PhD in English? I don't think so. Yes, if you are aiming at becoming an English professor, then please go ahead and learn a lot of grammar. But if your aim is simply to improve your personality, you want to become a smart person, because these days speaking in English makes you smart, then you don't have to get into grammar. You're not aiming at becoming an English professor. Leave grammar aside and start working on your speaking. Improve your speech. That's it. The second reason is that we are all humans and we are allowed to make mistakes. We are not aiming at perfection. Even if we construct a sentence here and there, it is allowed. Mistakes are allowed in this life. People commit blunders. They do so many big mistakes. Aren't we allowed to make these small mistakes that I've just placed one verb ahead of what to say, something here and there, the placement is not right. It is allowed. We are allowed to make mistakes. It is just that we should keep correcting them. That's it. Keep making mistakes and keep correcting them. We are not perfect beings. So we should not try to be a perfectionist. That's a disorder. If you think you are a perfectionist, there is something seriously wrong with you. And I'm sure my learners are not aiming at perfection. We are going to make mistakes. We are going to chill. All right. Another reason, which is very genuine according to me, is that we don't need to learn English as our first language. Our first language is our mother tongue, and we are in love with it. My first language is Hindi, and I'm deeply and madly in love with it. Aren't you in love with your first language, your mother tongue? We are proud of what we are. And in India, none of us have a common language. After a few kilometers, the language changes. Here is this beautiful phrase which we use for India: unity in diversity. Our nation is truly diversified, still we stand united with different languages, different cultures, different food, different festivals. We are still the same. We still remain one. That's the beauty of our nation. Let's embrace our uniqueness and the beauty. Let's not make English our first language. It is something which is important these days because of globalization. We need to learn English, so we are simply learning it, but we are not going to replace our first language. We are in love with our first language, and we are always going to value it. We are always going to find it more significant. Tell me if I'm saying the right thing or not. Another reason why we are not going to learn grammar too much is that we are neither Britishers nor Americans, and we are Indians, and we love our languages. We are not becoming Americans or Britishers because even they make mistakes. If you think that the native English speakers don't make mistakes, they do make mistakes. We are not them. We are what we are, and we are happy with what we are. And the most significant reason that I want to give all of you, and this is the reason why I'm insisting that please don't learn a lot of grammar, is that grammar will actually slow you down. It will slow the learning process down, and ultimately it will slow your speaking practice down as well. Grammar confuses you. If your mind is always thinking about whether am I supposed to use the third form of the verb with this subject, or whether am I supposed to use is, am, are, which helping verb, which this, which that, which voice, you will be confused. We have to speak in such a manner that we don't have to think about a lot of rules and everything. We should be able to just let the words flow out of our mouth, and grammar would not let you do that. That is why I don't pay a lot of attention to grammar. But ma'am, then how are we going to speak in English? That's what we are going to do in today's class. I'm going to give you 5 wonderful ways which will help you learn English without grammar. So if we are not paying a lot of attention to our grammar, what are we going to do? We are going to read a lot of books. When we read more books, we develop our English in a very well-defined manner. Read whatever you can. Grab books from different areas or the areas that enchant you. Read love stories, read finance to develop your money management skills. Read self-help books so that you can develop good habits, you can become your best version. Read biographies so you can notice the challenges which different people have faced, their success stories, anything which interests you. For that, you have to visit bookstores or you can search online. Simply get a few books for yourselves and start reading. Reading will take care of the grammar part. How? There is a way to read. You have to read aloud. You have to make sure that every single word, every single sentence that you're reading, you have to speak it out loud. When you're speaking it from your mouth, it will get into your ears, and through your ears, it will get into your mind, and your mind will be trained to speak in English fluently. Yes, that's how it works. We have to develop a coordination between our tongue, our ears, and our mind. When these three are in sync, your tongue will speak English naturally. Your mouth and your mind will be coordinated. That's what happens, because when you are reading something aloud, you come across a lot of sentence structures. Vocabulary building will happen automatically. past, present, future tense will be taken care of. And at the same time, your pronunciation will get improved because you get to see each and every spelling in front of your eyes. So read aloud. It will help you a lot. Then you will not have to pay attention to grammar if you're reading every single day for 30 minutes or so. The next way of learning English without grammar is that instead of learning a single word, learn an entire phrase instead. In my shorts, I keep sharing one word with you, the word of the day and all those kind of things. But I always share one sentence so that you understand the context of that word. If you simply cram a word, it will never be useful for you. So make sure that you are learning a phrase. When you listen to other people speaking, when you read something in the books, or when you are simply observant of your surroundings, you will come across a lot of phrases. Like suppose you are thinking about someone. The most simplest manner can be, I'm thinking of you, but there is a beautiful way to say that, you occupy my thoughts. Learn this phrase. You occupy my thoughts. Isn't it such a beautiful phrase? Phrases like, if somebody is asking you, how's life? Instead of saying fine, good, say, can't complain. Learn it. Learn this phrase. Can't complain. Note down these phrases that I'm sharing with you. If you want to say thanks to somebody, so instead of saying a simple thanks, say, your assistance is really appreciated. This can be said to a customer care executive, or you can say this to a delivery boy. Your assistance is really appreciated. Or something like when you are asking for somebody's help, a colleague or any family member, you can say, I apologize for bothering you, but can you help me with this? I apologize for bothering you. Learn these phrases as it is and start using them in your everyday conversations. That can be very helpful. The third way is, you have to start writing down your thoughts and feelings. I know you're not in habit of doing that. Every day we come across thousands of thoughts, but they remain undocumented. Start penning those thoughts down. Simple feelings every day. What do you feel? Let's start with something like, how am I feeling today? So you can simply say that, today I'm feeling a little sad, happy, angry, or grumpy. So you can say anything. You just have to write down your feelings and then explain it to yourself. Why are you feeling sad? What is making you happy? Why are you angry today? Or why so grumpy? Start explaining it to yourself. When you're writing, write something like, when I was a child, life was much more simple back then. Why was it so? Do you think life becomes hard when we become adults? Anything? Speak about it. Write down a sentence like, I was terribly hungry in the afternoon today. Then my mom cooked a delicious meal for me. And then talk more about that meal. What all was there? There was a salad, there was curd, there was one of the mixed vegetables, chapati, rice, what all you had. Talk more about it. Write down something like, something so philosophical. I love looking at butterflies as they are so colorful. Butterflies, they are fragile. They get to sit on flowers. They are so beautiful. Apart from colors, what else do you like about butterflies? Or apart from butterflies, what else do you like? Talk more about these things. Start writing your feelings down. This helps a lot, and talk more about your feelings. So you can call it journaling, you can call it a diary entry, or you can simply call it as your English practice by writing down certain phrases. Now the fourth thing that you have to do is you have to listen to good speakers. Now when I say that, I never say that you listen to native speakers because you cannot really relate to native speakers. We cannot understand their English. Our mind cannot process the kind of English they speak. They speak very fast. They eat up a lot of words, and then we simply build accent, but we never speak good, correct English. So never listen to native speakers if you're not very comfortable with them. Listen to somebody who is speaking simple English, who's not speaking very complicated accent. So listen to these people and listen to people who sound positive, who are not inculcating a lot of negativity in your mind. Listen to people who add value into your life, who you can connect very well with. Listen to those people and then start paying attention to how they are greeting you. What are the kind of sentences that they are using, the vocabulary that they are using, how they speak in a flow, their pronunciation, everything. Like, there can be more ways of greeting people. You can simply say, it's a pleasure to meet you. It's a pleasure to meet you. Or you can say, it's been a while since we met. It's been a while since we met. We can say, how are things at your end? You can ask this to a friend. How are things at your end? Or you can say, pleased to meet you. Learn these phrases as it is. Many people greet like this. Apart from simple hi, hello, you can use these. Or when you are parting with somebody, time to say bye-bye, then you can say, I hope to see you soon. I hope to see you soon. I look forward to our next meeting. I look forward to our next meeting. Or you can say, catch you later. Catch you later. Or have a nice day. Learn these phrases as it is, because if nothing else, at least greeting people and saying bye-bye to them is something which happens every day. So if you have these phrases in your hand, it'll be easy for you to express yourself in English. Now, last but not the least, the most important thing is that along with reading more English, along with writing some sentences down and listening to other people, start speaking more English with yourself. Pay attention to your self-talk. Substitute your mother tongue, whichever language you use to talk to yourself, with English. Start building a relationship with yourself. If you're scared to talk to your own self, how would you be able to talk to other people out there in the world? So start building this friendship with yourself, where you are talking to yourself, where you're talking about your day to yourself, where you're talking about your emotions, about your heartbreaks, about your life story, what is making you sad, what kind of feelings are right now there which you are going through. Talk about all these things with yourself. If you work on building a nice relationship with yourself, if you are actually paying attention to your self-talk, then your fluency is right there at the doorstep. Nothing, no one, no power can stop you from speaking English fluently. Then you're already a good speaker. The moment you develop that comfort of talking with yourself, you get comfortable with talking to anybody out there in the world. So I hope that you will be easily able to keep your grammar aside and you'll work on all these aspects of speaking in English, all these activities that I've talked about, and you will become a fluent English speaker very, very soon. My good wishes, my blessings are always with you. Keep practicing your English. Keep having faith in self-learning. I'll see you in my next session very, very soon. Take care of yourself. Bye-bye for now.